Struggling with how to create a financial plan? Whether you're launching a startup or presenting to investors or lenders, this tutorial walks you through building a simple and professional 12-month profit and loss account, balance sheet, and cash flow forecast. We'll be using a free downloadable Excel template. I'll show you how to create a financial plan in just a few steps. Hi everyone, and welcome to aitrilabs, your go-to channel for finance made simple tutorials. Let's jump straight into the template. In this scenario, we'll be using a fictional company called aitrilabs Stationery. Yep, we sell stationery. We'll use a 12-month period, as you can see, from January to December, and we'll be entering three main types of data. Step 1, sales information. So this is my sales information data. In my scenario, you can see I've put in my sales units, my selling price, and my cost price per unit. I've also put my markdown and discounts there. Step 2 is operational expenses. So I've put some operational expenses that I incur in my business. First is payroll. There's 48,000 for the year, which is flat face across the year, 4,000 each month. Other overheads incurred as well, that's £24,000, also flat face £2,000 in my case. Obviously you can phase it how you want it accordingly on how you want it to be reflected, as this is important for the other data that we're putting together. Marketing spend as well, this is different. As you can see, it's not flat phase, it's broadly in line with those spikes for seasonalities during the year in my scenario. And my last operating expenses is my rents and rates, which is £30,000, which is also flat faced in accordance to how this is paid during the course of the year. Step 3 is balance sheet items. If you'd like to learn a bit more about the different things that go into your P&L, your balance sheet and cash flow, check out the link in the description below for a tutorial that covers this in detail. My balance sheet items, I'll put some information in there. First one is cash injection. I've got a good investor that has invested $250,000 into my business, and this was invested in January, so I put a figure in there. My inventory units, so the stationery I'm selling, I bought 50,000 units in January, and then the business has done quite well. As you can see, we've sold some decent amount. So in July, I bought another 75,000 units. IT equipment. So for my business, I need some really expensive IT equipment. So I bought £30,000 in there. As this is a balance sheet item, there's a depreciation. So depreciation is straight line for 3 years. So that's £10,000 every year. As you can see, I flat phase that £10,000 off for a year. If you'd like to learn a bit more about depreciation and balance sheet items, check out the link in the description below for that tutorial video. And there you have it. I've entered my key sets of data that have now generated my profit and loss account, my balance sheet account, and my cash flow account. Now let's run through the statement of accounts that we've prepared to explain this in a bit more detail. So based on the information entered above for our sales units and our selling price, that's calculated our revenue per month. And also it's accounted for any months where we've done promotional offers and discounts. Next is cost of sales. This is the cost of the items that you've sold. And we have our sales units and cost price per unit, and you multiply those two sets of information, that gives our costs of sales. Gross profit, that's the difference between our revenue and our cost of sales. And that's those set of figures there. And gross margin is basically a percentage of gross profit to revenue. That's how it's calculated in the Excel cells. Next is our operated expenses. So that's all the data we've entered in the operated expenses section. That's it per month there. And then depreciation. As this is a balance sheet item, the equipment, you charge depreciation every year. So year 1, £10,000 is charged to the P&L, whilst the other £20,000 remains on the balance sheet. And that's the breakdown of the £10,000 charged to the P&L. And there you have it, guys. You deduct your operated expenses and depreciation from your gross profit, and you get your net profit before tax. And that's it. That's how profit and loss account is calculated. Next is balance sheet. The balance sheet is split into two sets of data, your assets and your liabilities. So that's my fixed asset for the IT equipment that I purchased. And then that's my monthly depreciation, which is cumulative. So you see at the end of year 1, the value of my fixed assets is £20,000 as expected. And the other side of fixed assets are current assets. So this is where you have things like cash, your debtors, which are people that owe you. inventory, which is your stock. In my case, we've got cash, we've got loads of it. So that's the £250,000 cash injection that came into the business. In addition to that, my revenue of £75,000. My revenue is recorded in the same month because the cash is received in the same month. If the cash wasn't received in the same month, that 75k will be recorded under debtors. Remember, the inventory I purchased for 50,000 units at £5 per unit, that's cash going out. And also my operating expenses is also cash going out. So the net balance is that figure there, and then it rolls over every month until the end of the year. Like I previously stated, I have 0 debtors. Next is inventory. So I started the year with inventory of 50,000 units times £5. That's £250,000 worth of inventory. Remember, in January, I sold 5,000. So that's 25,000 worth of inventory that I've sold. That comes out, so the balance at the end of January is the difference between what I started with and what I sold, which is that figure. And it's the same thing every single month till I get to the end of the year. And then I have my total assets, which is the sum of my fixed assets and my current assets. Next is liabilities. So for liabilities, same as assets, is also split into two. You have a long-term liability, so this is, for example, if you have a long-term loan that you borrowed, either from a lender or from a third party, that would sit in your long-term loan. In my case, I don't have any long-term loans, so there's blank. Creditors, this are the people I owe. My net assets, and that's the difference between my total assets and liabilities. As you can see, that's that figure there. Next is your equity. So the cash injection of 250k is recorded as share capital. If this was taken out as a loan, that would be sat in liabilities. Because this was cash injected into the business, it's sat in share capital. And then next is retained earnings, and this is basically your net profit from the P&L. And then you sum that up, that gives you your total equity. Most importantly, you need to make sure your balance sheet balance. Mine always balances, as you can see, it's the same set of figures. And finally, guys, it's the cash flow statement, which is very easy. It's cash coming in and cash going out. In cash coming in, this is split into a few subcategories. One is cash collection from customers. So that's the money from the goods that we've sold. Again, your cash from investments, that is cash coming in. So you have to record it. And then the next section, cash going out. First of which is cash payment for suppliers. So the inventory I purchased there, the 50,000 units, remember, for £5 per unit, that's 250k. And then the subsequent 75,000 units I bought later in the year, that's the value. And then from operating expenses, so that's my rent, my payroll, my marketing costs, that's all those costs side there, that's cash going out. And then lastly, of that cash payment, that 30k is expensive equipment I purchased at the beginning of the year. And there you go, that's the total of my cash out. And finally, guys, my opening cash balance. So we started the year with 0, and then it increased during the period, which is the difference between my cash in and cash out, is 35k, and my closing balance is my opening balance plus increase during the period, and that's the 35k, and then that rose on month by month till I get to the end of the year. And that's it, guys. Now you've got your full financial plan ready to impress any investor or lender. If you've learned even one new thing, hit the like button. And if you've learned quite a few things, subscribe and join the aitrilabs community. Remember, you can download the free finance plan template via the link in the description below. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm here to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.